let's get into it. Coach Colin here. What's going on, guys? Man, I have never disagreed with Charlie Kirk more than when I saw this tweet that he put out. It's so, I don't know, it's Davos level anti-human, the tweet he just put out. Just never thought I'd say, especially him being such a hardcore Trump supporter, and Trump is all about farmers to the point where he almost granted these people who work on farms that are illegals, he almost granted them amnesty, but there was a pushback, and then he pulled away from that. And he cares about farmers and farming that much that he almost allowed them, as much as I love farmers, he allowed the ones that have just hire as many illegals as they can. And it's like, please don't take them away. And it's like, it's just a crazy situation going on. So I'm going to play this Tucker clip first, talk about what Tucker has to say in regards to amnesty. He made himself very clear. And then we'll jump over to Charlie Schwab in his quotes. Let's go.
I think about amnesty for farm workers. I think it's the most grotesque thing I've ever heard. Are you joking? Amnesty for farm workers? We have like 60 million illegal aliens in the country. The country bears no resemblance to the country I grew up in, and it's not better, it's worse. So I'm not going to sit for another lecture from anybody telling me we need to import more people to write code or pick grapes or any other task. Period. It hasn't worked. The country hasn't gotten richer. It hasn't become more unified. Those words should burn on the tongue of anyone who utters them. How dare you talk like that? Amnesty. How about deportation? What about that? I mean, look, and let me just say, people say all kinds of things. It doesn't mean it's happening, but I think it's worth being a little paranoid about it. I mean, I think everyone in this room is paranoid. It's important to make sure even the people you love are true to their word. Doesn't mean you hate them. Again, I don't take my kids I love my kids more than anything. I don't automatically believe everything they tell me because I'm not a moron. Because I understand that people don't always say the truth. So, but anyway, yeah, any kind of amnesty is not only a bad idea, it's like outrageous.
Man, very straightforward. And I would agree in that situation. And if you notice throughout this clip here, he is touching on the Elon Musk Vivek argument that both of them together were bringing to the American people about H-1B visas. And he's also touching on, exactly what I was talking about in terms of Trump and farmers and them getting amnesty, the illegals that are working on farms getting amnesty. He's touching on both of those things. And he's right. It has not helped, and it shouldn't help. I don't know. I saw people in the comments when I talked about this on my other channel, but it's funny that there's no conversation around farmers saying, why'd you do that? Oh, well, it's just going to be so hard to keep things up if we get rid of all these people. How many? The percentage of your workforce? Oh, 90%. Oh, why'd you do that? You shouldn't do that. I don't understand. Why'd you do that? Shouldn't there be a conversation asking them what exactly they were thinking for the ones that did that? Because not all of them do that type of thing. You would think there would be a conversation. I've heard people in the comments of videos that I've made saying there should be a fine put in place. But, I also think farmers have gotten it pretty hard for a long time. But there should at least be the question of, why did you do this? And the promise of, you're not going to do this again, right? Because there's going to be other people who are illegal. Like, as much as the border is very secure right now, there are going to be other people that get through. You're not going to hire those people too, right? Like, we're not turning you into an amnesty machine where people just jump on your farm and they have we're not doing that, right? Farms become green card machines, Like, what? No, you can't do that. There should, honestly, there should be a percentage. Maybe this sounds crazy. Maybe it's unconstitutional. I don't know. I have no idea. But there should be a percentage of Americans, born Americans, that work on your farm, in your business. I would think. When you go to certain enclaves, certain neighborhoods, and it's just like all one people, I'm kind of like, huh. And they're all not from America. It's like, huh, how'd that happen? How'd that happen? What'd you guys do? Did no Americans come in? Because you know what happens? They create this culture. Let's just say the language is Spanish. I'm just picking one off the top of my head. Just off the top of my head. But once you create a culture where 70% of the people speak Spanish, and then like 30% of them don't speak any English at all, and that's the workforce at your grocery store, let's say. All of a sudden, when some guy comes in who's just a guy who just speaks English, he's just born in America, all of a sudden he doesn't fit into that culture. So now, maybe at the beginning you had no problem hiring someone like that, but now all of a sudden you can't. And the next thing you know, one of them becomes manager. And now they're not. Now it's just, we're done. We're done hiring Americans. I don't know. I just think there should be something to that. This whole thing of, and I've talked about this before, this whole thing of Americans are too lazy to do X, Y, Z. It's just not true. It's just not true. I remember cashiers, before there was all this self-checkout nonsense. Cashiers, what kind of job was it? It was a job for young people. It was their first job. They were a cashier. It helped them work on their social skills. It helped them have a responsibility. They were responsible for their till. It was good work for younger people and older people. You get out of the house. You get to interact with a lot of people. Those farm jobs should be something like that, introducing young people to really hard work. And there's, as much as we talk about population collapse, and some people think there's too many, usually on the left. A lot of people think there's not enough. That's not even someone on the right. That's just people who know about populations and whatnot. But I will say there's no shortage of young people that could do this work. And older people. There's many people who would be like, oh yeah, I'd love to work on a farm. You just have to pay them right. That's all. And that's really what it is. That's really what it is at the end of the day. They just don't want to pay the people properly. And I've said it before, and people argue it. When an American guy comes in to a situation and he says, I'm from this country, this is the rate, this is what you should be paying me. For some reason, you're offering like 40% less. Why is that? What's going on? I think I should get this wage. When somebody comes into the country and they don't have papers and they don't have this and they don't have that and they don't exactly speak the language and they just need something, they'll see a job that's, first off, they don't even know what they should be getting paid. Okay? They're comparing everything to where they once were. So they're looking at it and they're like, oh, that's fine. That's perfect, actually. Fantastic. Give me that. That's the real thing that's going on. And I don't think, as much as I love farmers, they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. Let's jump over to what Charlie Kirk had to say about this whole thing. He posts this. Robots can now pick apples. It's time to automate America's farms. Automation, not amnesty. What type of trickery is he trying to pull off with this tweet? There is some kind of trickery that he's trying to play here, right? And then he shows this thing, this dystopian looking thing. Is there any sound on this? It's just picking apples. Like, what? What are you talking about, man? You're going to have a bunch of these instead of people? See, it's weird. See, this is why I say it's trickery. Because you know what the conversation has been. It's been no amnesty for these people who are illegals. This is not right. This shouldn't be happening. Everybody should have to go. This is what you voted for, et cetera, right? That's the conversation that's happening. Trump almost leans into it, almost gets the amnesty. Then he says, you know what? We're not going to do amnesty. We're going to do, I think he said something else that was kind of like amnesty, and a lot of people still didn't like it. But now Charlie, who's against amnesty, is like, you know what? Forget what Trump is saying about amnesty. We need to move towards automation. You know, they do that to people sometimes. And let me just try and work out this thought. This is what they do to some people sometimes. This is what they do to populations sometimes. Sometimes you have, let's just say, like safety, right? Sometimes what will happen is something will be taking place in your town, your neighborhood, your state that is so lawless, so much chaos that you end up begging for things like the National Guard to show up and straighten things out, right? And when you think about it, and this is kind of happening now in certain places. There's certain places in like LA where they're like, bring them in. You know, not everybody in California is like, this is just fine. Come on, peaceful protest. Not everybody's like that. Some people are like, no. Bring in as much law and order as possible. It's just interesting when you think about it, because I may be Christian and conservative, but I do see things very clearly. And a lot of the things that we're cheering for are things that you would oppose years ago. But just there's certain things that happen. There's certain people who take over, and then they allow this, they allow X, they allow Y, they allow Z, and then the next thing you know, you're like, well, we need order. We need order. Who's going to bring us order? It's like, oh, I'll bring you order. I'll bring you the National Guard. But before, a lot of people, even in the tinfoil community, we would point at things like that and be like, oh, you're trying to bring about martial law. That's what you're trying to do. That used to always be the talking point. I haven't heard anybody bring that up in a long time. In the tinfoil circles and the people who were awake, not woke, they would always be like, you know, they're working on trying to get martial law. And now we're at a point, because it's so out of control, that when we hear about the National Guard going into a place, we're like, finally. You ever heard Dave Chappelle talk about, it's in one of his specials where he talks about a lady of the night and her gentleman protector, let's call it, okay? But this story is, someone puts her in such a situation because she's about to like retire, this lady of the night. She's about to retire, and her gentleman protector puts her in a situation that's so crazy and so wild that by the end of all the trauma and stuff that she goes through, she forgets what a problem he was for her, because now he's a savior and he saved her. I wish I could explain it better with using the proper words. Gentleman protector. It sounds so stupid. Sounds dumb. I can't say pimp. I can't say that. I bet if I was Asmund Gold bringing in 20 million views a month, I could say it. They'd be like, oh, that's fine. It's fine. But it's me, so I can't say that. Whatever. I said it. That's what I'm talking about. But that's a tactic that they use. They will put these ladies through so much it'll put them into a weird situation, a traumatizing situation, that they turn around, these women, and they beg for that same protection and oppression that those pimps were providing. It's hard to explain. Really hard to explain. You know, I try not to swear, but sometimes swear words and crass language really do help situations, you know? But I'm just saying, we're begging. So at certain points, you end up begging for things that normally you would not. Like before, I'm telling you, 10 years ago, there are many people who would be like, National Guard, this is crazy. Now it's like, oh, this is necessary because of what this guy did, this former guy. He opened up the borders. He did this. He did that. So now it's a necessary thing. But before, that would be an outlandish suggestion. I just notice that sometimes. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. It's just sometimes you gotta, like, I'm on the right. That's how I see it. I don't know. Some older people tell me I'm like a classic liberal, but I say I'm on the right. But I'm still able to see the whole picture of things. I'm not blind to the other side and maybe some points that they have. I'm not blind to I still see everything, you know? That's the good part of being a part of the tinfoil community. Okay? It's like we're like adjacent to the intelligence community. We are. We're adjacent to the intelligence community in the sense of we have a lot of information and we're seeing things from all angles. You know? I don't know, man. It's just odd. It's just odd. And I think that's what Charlie Kirk's doing here. Robots can pick out. It's like, so all the people who were against amnesty, they're like, well, I need some kind of solution. Are these people they're not being removed? Well, I don't want them to have amnesty. And Charlie Kirk says, how about automation? How about that? Then they don't get those jobs. Yeah, they're taking those jobs. Now we have automation. The robots will do it. And now there's probably people who are like, yeah, that's a proper solution. But it's not. That'll destroy farming in another way. Like right now, farming is dwindled down to almost nothing. And that is, and I know we don't think about it like this, but farming is an ancient technology that we should not let go extinct. The real farming. Like there's a farmer's market in Texas, in Austin. And I go there and there's this lady and she's an 8th generation farmer. A lady, she runs the farm. 8th generation. That's far back. She's been doing it forever. It's all she knows. It's all she's seen her grandparents do and her father and her family and everyone in her family. That doesn't exist anymore. I think there should be a push for that to exist. That regenerative farming as well, but just generations of farmers. Because I know you've heard the old thing people have said before. You know, what would you do if the grocery stores shut down? But what would you do? What would I do? I don't know. Luckily, I try to live around people and communities that have farm fresh eggs, or not even farm, just somebody has eggs and they sell them. You try to live around close to where whatever meat you're eating, you try to live close to it. I try to do that, but you still go to the grocery store. My wife just got back from the grocery store. So I don't know, it's just going away. It's going away and we shouldn't let it go away. And automation is the quickest way for it to disappear. It's the quickest way for farming to go away. And the reason I say what he's saying is like within the grasp of Davos is because that's exactly what they would say. Because automation, look at this thing. This takes away, not only does it take away humans actually picking your food, and I think there is something to that. I think the interaction between humans and the actual plant life that you're taking this apple from, I think there's something to that. I think there's a proper energy there. I think it becomes very soulless when it's just a machine doing it. And I think that transfers to us as we, transport it. And that's why when you pick an apple off a tree and eat it, it feels so much better. Like my wife's mom was growing cucumbers and tomatoes and stuff. I don't even like cucumbers, but she picked one off. I'm giving it to my kid, making sure it's all good. And then the kid, they slobber all over things and they make you eat it. I bit into it and I'm like, oh, this is actually incredible. This is so good. There's something to that. It wasn't just the fact that it was good, but it's fresh. There's something to that. So not only does it take away that human aspect, right? It makes it so it's just one of the many things that will be lost with automation coming through. One of the many things. And I feel like this is one of the things that shouldn't be touched. This should be a human thing that happens. And I know you probably talk about modern farms and, slaughterhouses and the automation there. Like, I get it, like, fine. But How far do you want it to go? That's the real question. Do you want it to get to that point to where this is the apple picker? That's what goes on in orchards, and then they're going to figure out how to make it soft enough that it can grab strawberries and this and that. I mean, jeez. At this point, just go back to black people picking everything, you know? So when the country was great. I'm kidding. Although that cotton was probably very fresh. It's probably very nice. I'm joking. Oh, come on. I'm just joking. But yeah, very surprising coming from Charlie Kirk. Robots can pick apples now. Automation, not amnesty. And again, some people are just so drowned, so submerged in their side that they won't see what he's doing because it's Charlie. And Charlie says the good things. He owns the libs and he only says good things. We can go along. We can trust Charlie. But you can't trust this. Listen, anything that Klaus Schwab would hear and nod his head along to, it's not something, you don't go for it. He missed the mark on this one. This is crazy. Right? Is this the kind of stuff you would hear at the World Economic Forum? Let's just automate all farms. Take away all the human aspects. And then what? Who owns the robots? Is it going to be Farmer Joe that's going to own the robots? Maybe. He owns tractors and things that spray plants and, you know, he owns all sorts of things. So maybe he'll own these robots. Or maybe there will be some big company that'll own them instead. And now all of a sudden, overnight, the farming industry gets ripped away from just regular farmer folk and thrown into the hands of these corporations, these robotics companies that can keep on making these things, maintenance them, and everything like that. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Something weird going on. But, you know, always, this might rattle some people, but you always got to be able to call out your side. You always got to be able to call out your side. It's because when we can't do that, that's what the left can't do. They're not allowed to do that. They're in some hive mind, some group think. And that's why we look at them all and we go, wow, this is ridiculous. So you can't participate in that same type of thing on your side. You just can't. Because when that happens, when you can look at a certain situation and you can think in your conscious mind, in your moral mind, that this thing's wrong, but because of the side that you're on, it twists and misshapes your moral thought patterns and forces it to go along with whatever is being said or being done. That's a problem. That's a problem because that's happening. It feels like it's just you going along with something, but it happens mentally. And I think there's a part of your soul that doesn't like that as well. Puts a blemish, a scrape, a scab on your soul when you're doing that. You have to be able to think. Not being able to think is the worst thing. Because where are your thoughts coming from? They're coming from your conscious. I believe your conscious is connected to your soul. It might even be your soul. So when people start saying things and you're not allowed to think a certain way because you've dug your heels into sand in regards to what side you're on, that's an issue. That's what the left does. Don't do what the left does. Look at the left. You want to be like that? Huh? Want to be like Colbert? I brought him up already. Dancing around with syringes. Right? He was dancing around with syringes because Orange Man bad. He's ridiculous. All because Orange Man's bad. He's like, oh, this guy's soul is rolling around in his body like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to us? I'm going to do an episode about Steven right now. Right now, I'm going to do an episode of Steven. Why not? Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about that. Is this what you're interested in? No amnesty? I'm for that. But are you looking for automation in the realm of farming? I'm definitely not. I'm with Tucker Carlson, and I know for a fact, just from Tucker Carlson's conversation with Joe Rogan, he would not be for this automation stuff that Charlie's pushing right now. He would be completely against it. I even said, I could actually show this. I said, man, where is it? I made sure to say it. Get off of this. Show you my mentions. I don't want you guys to see me arguing with people. Because I say terrible things to people sometimes. Oh, yeah, that's what I said. I said, I have another option, Charlie. Americans. I think that's what should happen instead. That's just me, though. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here.